Hello, thank you for watching Visera Link webinar number 9. This webinar is going to focus on what your clients see on their end. Specifically, when you send somebody a remote scan, what's their experience like? How are they notified that you sent them a scan? When they download the app, what does the app look like on their end? What does the report look like on their end? This webinar is going to show you everything that they see, so that way you know what's going on the other end. And as always, if you're not following us on social media, this is where you can find us. These are our different social media handles. Be sure to follow us right here. We always start the webinars with this message. Visera Link does not identify, diagnose, or treat any disease or medical condition. Let's get back to the point at hand, which is what your clients see on their end. So we're going to break this up into a few different scenarios. Scenario number 1, you just sent someone a scan for the very first time. So you pulled out your app, you created a profile for this person, and you just sent them a scan. And again, this is somebody you've never, ever scanned before. This is their first time getting a scan, and you just sent them a scan for the very first time. They've never scanned before. They have never even downloaded the app. So here's what's going to happen. Here's their experience. First, they're going to receive 2 emails. And the one on the top, the one that says support, verify your email, that's the one that's going to come in first, shortly after you create the profile. And then as soon as you send the scan, they'll get the one right below it, which is the Visera team complete your wellness scan email. So let's go ahead and show you what those emails look like. First, the top one that says verify your email. That one is going to look like this when you open it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's just going to say verify your email, and it'll have a link. Basically, when you click on, or them, when they click on verify your account or the link to verify the email, it'll say email verified. That's it. It just basically wants to know that it's a real email address that the scan was sent to. That is it. If they actually don't even open that email, let's go back to the previous screen. When they get the 2 emails, if they don't even open that one or click on it, they'll still be able to download the app because it's still going to complete that email verification once they create their password. So in other words, they will get both of them. If they ask you, what's this, verify your email, it's just making sure that the scan was sent to a valid email address. Literally, that's it. But this is the main one that you want to focus on when you send someone a scan for the very first time. Tell them to look for an email that says complete your wellness scan in the subject line. And right here, you're going to see that you can see a little bit of the message. It's going to say hello and then their first name. Now, I'm using a test account, so my client's name is Visera. But if you send this to a person named John Doe, it'll say, hello, John. And instead of my name, it's going to have your name. So let's look at the actual message. Complete your wellness scan. The actual email is going to look like this. Again, it'll say their first name, not Visera. So, hello, John. And then instead of my name, it'll have your name. So if your name is Mary, it'll say Mary has invited you to run a remote Visera scan. Once you send your client a scan and they get their email that says complete your wellness scan and they open it, there's only one thing they need to click on, and that's the blue link that says set up your password. So that's what you'll tell them to do. Click the set up your password link, and then what that's going to do is it'll open up a little window where they'll be able to enter their password once, and they'll be able to enter it a second time to make sure they entered it correctly. And it'll also bring up this little list of requirements as far as the password is concerned. After they set up a password, they download the app. So they're just going to look for a Visera link, and it looks just like this right here. So they'll go ahead, they'll download the app, and then as soon as they download the app, they'll open it and log in. The login screen, when they open the app, it's going to look just like your version of the app. The login button is up on the top. When they touch it, it's going to bring up this little box that says Visera wants to use auth0.com to sign in. This allows the app and website to share information about you. Let me make something perfectly clear because some people get confused about this. They think this means that it's going to share information with other companies and vendors. No, that's not what it's talking about. Auth0 is a security company. It's a top security third-party company that helps protect login information from hackers. So that is who the information is being shared with from Visera to Auth0, so they can lock in your login information so it'll be safe, it'll be secure, and that's what it's talking about. So anyway, once they click continue, it'll bring up the screen where they put in their username and password. Their username is their email address. Their password is the one they literally just created. So it's that simple. And the cool thing about it is if they forget their password, there's a little link down here that says forgot your password. They can just touch it. It'll send them an email so they can create a new one and then go from there. Okay, next up, they will run the scan. Now, once they're logged in, this is what the app looks like for them. The next webinar is going to teach you how to add your logo to the app. So that way, when they open up the app, instead of just saying Visera up here, it's going to have your logo and it'll say below it, powered by Visera. So that's the next webinar. Make sure to watch it. But anyway, let's get back to what this webinar is about. So your client already logged into the app. Now they just need to run the scan. Now what they do is they will touch the start scan button that's right here. When they touch the start scan button, it'll bring up the screen where, they make sure their face is lined up perfectly. They run the scan and the scan will complete. And then as soon as the scan completes, the report pops up. And again, if you add your logo will show up right here. And in the next webinar, I'll also show you how you can add your contact information. So when they look at the report, they'll know how to contact you. So if they touch the little drop-down arrow, they'll be able to see your phone number, your email address, and other information that you can decide to show or not. It's optional, but I will show you how to display it if you want to do so. But anyway, your client just ran the scan and they see the report. As far as the report, it's the exact same report that you see. Again, the only difference is this part right here, where they'll be able to see your contact information if you choose to display it. Other than that, it's the exact same report. And then on your end, you're going to be notified that this person completed their scan. So you'll get an email telling you that that person completed their scan. And you'll also get a notification inside of the app telling you that this person completed their scan. So that way you can follow up with them. But remember what we always say, it is better to schedule a phone call or a Zoom call with this person before you send them the scan. That way you're not trying to chase them down later on after they run the scan, like, hey, can you talk? Hey, can you talk? So before you send the scan, once they say, yes, go ahead and send me a scan, you also want to set up the appointment when you will discuss the results of the scan and the products that were recommended. The reason why this is good is because let's say that they run the scan and your appointment is not for another 3 hours or 2 hours. Well, as soon as you get the notification that they completed their scan, you can actually already pull up their report, go to client, select the client, and then in that client's profile, scroll down to scan history, open up the scan that they just did, and you can already prep for your appointment. So that way, when you go into your appointment, you're not going in from scratch. You already had a chance to report and identify the areas where you're going to focus on that call with that person. So now let's talk about scenario number 2. You just sent someone you scanned before another scan. So let's say it's the same person from scenario 1. It's just 30 days later and you just sent them another scan. What's their experience this time? Because the first time you sent them the scan, they had to set up a password and download the app and all that fun stuff. But they already did that. So do they have to do that all over again? The answer is no, they don't have to. So anyway, you just sent this person another scan 30 days later. They have completed at least one scan and they already downloaded the app. So as soon as you send them a scan, they're still going to get an email. It's going to be one email that's going to say complete your wellness scan. Very similar subject line as the first scan, except when you open the email, it no longer has the link to set up your password. It's just going to say, hey, so-and-so has invited you to run a remote Visera scan. To run the scan, open the Visera app and click on the blue Start Scan button. So basically what this is saying is just open up the app and scan again. So they'll open up the app, They'll log into the app, the Auth0 thing, they'll log in, okay? And then they'll run the scan, same old steps, touch the start scan button, the scan will complete, the report pops up, and again, the only difference is for them, if you choose to display your contact information, it'll have this little arrow where it will display it. But that's how easy it is going forward when you send someone a scan. All you do is tell them they don't even have to look for the email the second time around. You can just say, hey, I just sent you a scan. Open up your app, log in, and touch the start scan button. And that's it. It's that simple. And of course, as soon as they run the scan, just like before, you're notified that this person completed their scan through email and a notification through the app. Now we're going to talk about scenario number 3. You just sent someone your remote sign-up link. But the remote sign-up link, in short, is the link that every Visera Link user has. So every Visera Link user has their own unique remote sign-up link assigned to them. No two links are exactly the same. So your link is literally your link. When does this come in handy? Well, it only works, and I'll pop up this message right here. The remote sign-up link only works for people that have never been scanned before, and you have not created a profile for them either. So let's say that somebody wants to get scanned that's never been scanned before. You can do it one of two ways. You can open up the app, go to the client section, create a new client, and then send them a scan, or you can do nothing on your end other than text or email them your remote sign-up link. And what happens is when they click on your remote sign-up link, it's going to take them to a place where they will create their own profile. And the profile they create will sync with your app, so they will show up as your client. And then when they run a scan, the scan they ran will sync up with your app so you can see their scan results. So this comes in handy, for example, if you're doing a vendor event, for example, you have a table and you have 4 people that show up that want to get scanned. Can you imagine how long it would take to create 4 different profiles and send them all a scan one by one at a vendor event? You want to move quickly. So by having a remote sign-up link, you can have them create their own profile and then go from there, which leads me to the next screen. You can either share your remote sign-up link with people as the actual link itself, or you can convert it to a QR code. Now, here at Visera, we don't have a service that converts links to QR codes, so you would actually do that through a third-party website where they can convert your remote sign-up link to a QR code. So if you're doing a vendor event, for example, instead of displaying your link, you would print the QR code that directs people to your link, so they can then create their profile and run a scan. There's also third-party websites that let you shorten links, because the remote sign-up link by default is kind of long. So you can share it as is. You can also shorten it or convert it to a QR code. It is up to you. But anyway, what happens when somebody clicks on your remote sign-up link or they scan the QR code? Here's what happens. They will be taken to this website. Now, this website is going to say that they need to create their own profile. So they'll enter their email address, check that they've read the terms, and then continue. And when they enter their email address, the very first thing that's going to happen is it's going to see if they already have a link profile. So if they already have a link profile, it's going to say, you already have an account or a profile. Contact the person, the link user that you're working with, and tell them to send you a scan. Because again, remember that the remote sign-up link only works for people that you have never scanned before and you have never created a profile for. But anyway, back to this screen. They will enter their email address, check the box, continue, and then it's going to take them here. And you're going to notice that all of these fields ask for the same information that you would have had to enter if you had to create the profile on your end. So it's still asking for the same things, except they're doing it instead of you. So they create their profile, they click continue, and then it'll say, great, go ahead and download the app. So they'll download the app, and then they will log into the app, And from here, it's the same old steps. Log into the app, auth0, username, password, log in. They'll run the scan. They'll touch the start scan button, and then they'll run the scan, and then it'll say scan completed. And then after that, the report pops up. And then just like every previous example I've shown you, the report will be the exact same report, except for the fact that they will see a little section with your name and a little arrow in case you chose to display your phone number, your email address, and other information that they can use to contact you. It will be right there. So that's something to remember. And again, on your end, you will be notified that this person completed their scan through email and also through a notification inside of the app. Now, I'm going to go over another thing that applies to all scenarios. They cannot scan again until you send them a new scan. Okay, so let's make that part perfectly clear. So if you send somebody a scan and they run the scan, they cannot just log into the app and run another scan. It just won't work. If somebody clicks on your remote sign up link and they create a profile and they download the app and run the scan, if they click on the remote sign up link again and put their email address in, it'll say, hey, you already have a profile. Contact the person you're working with so they can then send you a new scan. So that's what will happen. But let me go ahead and visually show you what they'll see if they try to run a scan again without you sending them a new one. When they actually have a scan to run, it'll look like this. They'll log in, they'll see the start scan button, and they'll run the scan. But as soon as they run that one scan, this is what it's going to look like now. Look at this the middle of the screen. The start scan button will be grayed out. So in other words, they're not going to be able to run a scan again. And visually, it'll be grayed out. So what happens if they actually touch the button? Well, if they touch the button, it'll give them this message. There are no pending scans. When a scan invitation is received in the Visera app, the run scan button will turn blue, meaning the blue will get darker again and it'll look like this. So in other words, you are in control. You decide when they're going to get scanned, and they can't just keep scanning themselves over and over and over again. And now we're going to talk about what your clients see, part 2. Now we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of the actual app. So every screen, everything on the app, what do they see? What do you see? So let's go ahead and start with the home screen after you log in. So on the left is what they see. On the right is what you see. So you're going to notice that the top part of the app looks exactly the same for the both of you. But on the bottom, they only have 2 buttons. You have 4 buttons. This is literally the home button. The only other button they have is the more button. So let's go ahead and touch the more button on both sides to see the differences. So this one on the left is what they see, and this on the right is what you see. So first off, up on the top, the little icon on the top left is how to access your individual profile. So for them, if they touch that, it'll take them to their own profile where they can see their previous reports. And that actually shows up in every screen, that little circle. So that will always just take you back to your own profile. But anyway, let's get back to the more button. And this picture you see up here is just a random picture I added of a park, just to visually show you what happens when you add a picture to the app. So they'll be able to see this picture that you add. So in other words, it could be your logo, or it could be just a pattern or something. If you don't add anything, that's fine. It'll just be gray. But since we're talking about this, you're going to notice that on your side, you also have the notification bell like they do, but you have an additional button, this one with the 3 dots. And that's where you go to add your logo to the app, which we'll go over in the next webinar. Obviously, they can't do that. Now, below that is the spot where a profile picture can be added, the name, email address, and phone number of the person that's logged into Link. So all of this is the same. But then you're going to notice that you have more buttons than they do. So we'll just start at the top and work our way down. So first, products. So if you were to touch that button and they were to touch that button, you're going to notice that they have 2 buttons up on the top. You have 3 buttons up on the top. So you have 1 extra button. So first, the all button. That one just shows a list of products. And again, I'm using the neutral universal product company. But if you did select your specific product company, then obviously this list will show your products right here. This is just a knowledge base where you or they can touch a product and it'll give you information about that product. The next button is categories. You both have it. And that one, it's still the list of products just broken up into different categories. And this will vary depending on the product company that you're using. But then you have a third button that they don't. It's groups. So the groups button, that's the one that you can use to create custom groups of products. So there's that one. The next button over for them is my settings. For you, it's services. So they do not have the services button. The services button is the one that lets you create custom groups, just like the product groups, but it lets you create custom groups of services that can also be included in the scan. So if we go down one button on your side, then you have My Settings. So if you were to touch the My Settings button and they were to touch My Settings button, this is the difference between the two. For them, they can only change the language of the app. That's it. And they have the disclaimer that says that this is not diagnostic. So if you're scanning somebody and let's say that they prefer Hungarian or Spanish, let them know that they can go into the More button and then My Settings, and they can switch the app to one of these compatible languages. So then on your end, you'll still be able to see the app in English, but on their end, they'll see it in whatever language they selected. Now for you, that same exact button, it'll actually start with plan details. And it'll just say, hey, if you want to view your plan details, log into your account in Visera.com. Right below that, it'll show you your remote signup link. So this is where you can find it. When you touch this, it'll copy it, and then you can paste it into a document, a text message, an email, or whatever you want. And then right below that, it'll have your referral ID. So this is the referral ID, not this one. This is a sample one. But in your case, you'll see your actual real referral ID right here. And then as you scroll down, then it gets to language, where you're able to switch your app to a different language. And you can scroll down even more, and you have even more settings that they don't. Default scan preferences. And we went over this in detail in an earlier webinar. It'll be right here. And then there's the save button. And then you can scroll down and you see the disclaimer that says it's not diagnostic. So as you can see, this button right here, the My Settings button, yes, you both have it, but your version of My Settings has a lot more than theirs. With theirs, they can only change the language. That's it. All right, let's move on. So for them, the next button down is support. For you, it's report settings. They do not have the report settings button. So next button down as you scroll down is support. So now that's the next one that you both have. And the support button really just takes you to a page that has tech support information. So we're not even going to go there because that's literally all it is. And the next one is guide. You both have the guide button. And you'll probably remember this one. The guide is just going to take you back to the little mini tutorial that came up when you first downloaded and logged into the app for the very first time. Okay, now I'm going to show you what their profile looks like when they're inside their own profile versus when you're inside their profile. And right off the bat, you can see that you have a lot more options than they do when looking at their profile. So the name, phone number, email, that's all there. You're going to notice that the start scan button is, I want to say the word grayed out because that's the common terminology, but you know what I mean. It's not active. They cannot run a scan because you have not sent them a new one. Where on your side, the start scan button is always ready to go. All you do is touch it and send a scan. Then you're going to notice that below that, birthday and gender. Now, for you, it'll also show when you started working with them, meaning when they downloaded the app to run their very first scan. On their side, it'll show your name. And again, if you choose to show your phone number and email address, they'll touch the little arrow and they'll have it so they can contact you. Obviously, that doesn't show up for you because you are you. You don't need to call yourself or email yourself. So now for you, you have a section where you can do scan planning, schedule a recurring scan. For example, somebody that you want to send a scan to, it does it every 30 days. So that's what that's for. Children, it starts here, but we scroll down. So for children, you're going to see a little button that says add child with a plus sign. And that's where you can add children to their profile. And then below that, scan history. And that's what's next for them as well. So this is where you'll be able to see their reports. Now, I took these screenshots before this person completed their scan. But in your case, yes, you will be able to see their scan that they completed. This one right here, it will show up right here for you as well. It'll be sorted by date with the newest one up top. So when you get that notification telling you that they completed their scan, just go to their profile, scroll down, and it'll be right here. And below that, you will see a section for notes that they do not have. And the notes, these, like it says right here, they're not visible to your client. So these notes are for you only. So if they say something to you that you want to remember, something relevant that you're like, you know what? I think I want to remember that. So when I meet up with them again, I have that top of mind. You can enter this as a note. And last but not least, you have the archive client button, which they do not. One more thing or two more things. You're going to notice that where the profile picture would go if you or they have added one, you have a star. They don't. The star, if you touch it, it'll turn yellow and it'll add this person to your favorites. And then you have the three dots on the top right. When you're inside of somebody's profile, the three dots will give you the option to add someone to favorites and archive, for example. So it's pretty much just a different way to do the little star or the orange archive button. So there you go. That's what your clients see on their end. So you don't have to wonder anymore what their experience looks like when you send someone a scan or what their app looks like. We just showed everything to you right here. If you do have any questions, if you already have Link, contact us at this number or this email address for billing questions, tech support, or general support, or for sales or training questions before signing up, or you want to refer somebody, or you already have Link, but it's a training question, not billing or tech support or general, it's training, then call this number or email us right here. Again, make sure you're following us on social media. And thanks for watching. The next one will teach you how to add your logo to your app. Thank you.